All right, welcome to the tour of the Campulance. So we're just gonna do a quick tour with once over every important part, I think, of the ambulance. So we'll go by section, start with the back, and then do side, the front, other side, inside, underside, stuff like that, really quick. So we'll start here in the back. Hey, howdy, come here, kitty. Okay, maybe not. All right, so yeah, we have the big door sec here that can open up into the inside, so might as well get a view of that. What it looks like from here. And so obviously a lot of storage space. This is the bed. We don't have a mattress on there right now, but this frame is actually welded in because the previous owner didn't want anything rattling around, which I appreciate. So, I mean, obviously they can be moved, but right now it's semi-permanent. We'll these up. And sometimes this door doesn't want to latch that well, but once you put this one on, it stays perfectly fine. All right, so yeah, we have all the brake lights, the turn signals, and everything like that. They function properly, and then these two are LED kind of floodlights, right? So when you're camping, you can have some light coming from the ambulance, and those also exist on this side of it as well. What else? Oh yeah, so this was added, this trailer hitch. Added it for purposes of putting a bike rack on there, but they made it plenty strong so you can also tow trailers with it, which we've done, and it has the 4-pin hookup to do that. So I think that's pretty much it back here. I guess we're probably not going to climb up to the roof to show that in this video, so I'll just mention that it does have 2 solar panels. Each one's 145 watts, so about 290 watts. All right, let's go to this side. Okay, floodlights. We got the window, everything's pretty much stock as far as the core structure of the ambulance, so the windows haven't been replaced or anything like that. This one does open up, gives you a little bit of airflow there with the screen on this side. And what's great about this thing is all of the outdoor storage, right? So these open up and there's multiple lockers like this and plenty of room to put space. So we would use this one for kind of random stuff. We take extra fuel in it and also our emergency toilets, which I'll get to later. And yeah, whatever else you want. Kind of quick, easy access type of stuff there. Let's see. So this door does open, but we just keep it locked because inside of this is actually a closet that you want to access from inside. So we never really use that door. Let's go inside. Okay, I'll turn the lights on. They might flicker in the video. For some reason they do that sometimes in videos, but they don't do that in real life, just so you know. So yeah, 5'5" height here, so I do have to crouch a little. My wife can walk around just fine. We've got the whole crew with us apparently. This is the closet I was talking about here. If you want to just come inside, it might be easier now. So yeah, just a regular closet. This one's for hanging clothes. And this one has a shelf that we usually use for shoes, and then whatever you want down there, camping supplies, gear, whatever. And there's a fire extinguisher right there as well. One thing that I did add to this ambulance is this desk, because I do work remotely, so I'd use this as a little office sometimes on the road. And so this folds down, and then you have a little space there to put your chair underneath. And it's nice because you can put a monitor here and a keyboard and a laptop there, or however you want to do it. So pretty good amount of space there. And then once it's up, we have these coat hooks here, so you can hang things up kind of like a closet there. And then we have the walkthrough. So most ambulances have this, but not all. And yeah, it's kind of convenient. You never have to go outside if you want to go between the cab and the back here. Watch out, Louie. Watch out. It's just a magnet. You just have to pull kind of hard. And then yeah, we've got the counter and storage for food, pantry type of stuff. We'll go over here to the kitchen, I suppose. We'll start up here and work our way down. So we have 2 things here for the solar system, right? The charge controller and the, I guess remote meter is what you'd call that. Honestly, don't use these too often. Kind of just set them and forget them is the way we usually do it. But it is nice because it shows current voltage of the solar batteries. And this one, I don't know how well you can see that in the video, but it's showing 8 watts coming in for charging because it's getting pretty close to sunset, so there's not much. But yeah, a lot of information there for you. And then we have these marine panels here for the switches and some fuses. So this one is for it's basically DC and AC, right? So we have the refrigerator, the fan, the electrical outlets. Electronics pretty much just refers to the overhead lights, so you can do that. But once that's flipped, you can also adjust the lights. They're dimmable with these switches right here. And there are 2 switches because they're on 2 different kind of circuits. The back 2 lights are on their own. We also, on these switches, have the deck lights, so those outdoor ones I was showing earlier. And instrument lights, I actually don't remember what that is, and I'm not sure if it does anything. It might just be lights for this. No, I don't know what that is. Might be a spare switch. And then this side, the AC, you have the AC main, so usually the AC is off, but you turn that on, and then this outlet can work with the galley outlets. The refrigerator can also run off of AC if you plug into shore power. And yeah, that's about it. And then a spare switch right there. Okay, that's everything there. I think we've got USB and cigarette lighter style outlets, and also the regular AC style. This stove here is propane. It's actually really cool. It comes from Idaho, and these things are well regarded. They're just really well built. And we ran a hose from here to the propane tank that's in one of the outdoor storage lockers. So it's a direct connection, which is pretty convenient. Underneath it, we've just got some extra storage. And then, yeah, I should probably bring these up. This conduit runs all the way around the back here. And this was done by the previous owner to run all the wiring in. So if you need to make any changes or fix whatever with the wiring, you don't have to open up the wainscoting, right? You can just access it right there. Really smart move. Also, these panels here, most of these are new. We just replaced them because, over time condensation builds up and these things start warping and whatnot. So those are new, and some of these lights are new as well. So everything functions here just fine. Yeah, back to the bed platform. Not much to talk about there, but it does have a max fan here that I should point out. And yeah, you just turn the switch on over there to power it, and then you have, I don't think it's on right now, so yeah, it won't turn on. But it does work. And then you also have a switch here for lock and unlock. So that powers the locks for both this door and the main entry door into the back of the ambulance.
I turned it on if you want to shut it on. That works.
Yeah, so you can adjust the speed here and which direction it's going. And you can close and open the vent. Okay, we'll make our way over to the little mini sink. No water in there right now, but how it would work is this manual. Oh, tiny bit of water. Okay, hand pump right there. And then it's pretty much just more storage underneath it. Oh yeah, and then the fridge. This is the truck fridge. Excellent little fridge. It even has a little freezer that actually works well. I know some of them don't. And this one is great to use when you're out somewhere hot and you can come home and eat some ice cream and popsicles and stuff like that. So, and this can run off of DC or AC, automatically switches between the two essentially. And then yeah, under here just a lot more storage. And then the water tanks to the left, the fresh and the gray water. Gray water is not hooked up right now, but very simple system. So pretty easy to take out and clean and fill. You don't have to take out the fresh water tank to fill it, but the gray water tank's really easy to remove. Okay, let's keep moving on the outside here. Oh, one other thing, you don't need to climb back inside, but that switch that's above the bed for the locks, there's another one here. So a couple of places to be able to lock and unlock, which is super convenient. All right, let's move on to, let's do the cab first. So make this pretty quick. Pretty much your standard 1993 F350 cab with a few modifications. It does have power locks and power windows, which is pretty nice. And then this entire unit is ambulance related and has since been upgraded. So, you know what? I'll turn it on right now so we don't have to come back in. So there is a battery switch on this side of this seat. So you can turn it off for sitting for longer periods and it doesn't damage your battery. And then, now that it has power, you can see there's a voltage meter here. Again, we have USB and cigarette style 12 volt charger outlets. These switches power the indoor lights. You have a red one and a regular white one. And then these two do the outdoor lights, so those deck lights on both the side and the back. And I think this one is the back one, and that can be helpful when you're reversing because of the backup camera. You know, you can add extra light there, which helps a lot. I added a turbocharger to this ambulance, so when we did that, we had to add a boost meter to see what's going on there. So there's a new boost meter, and it probably only gets up to about 7 or 8 psi at the maximum. It makes a huge difference with this ambulance, though. But yeah, if you're cruising down the highway and on a flat road at like 70, you're probably only pushing 3 psi or so. So really, you know, it helps the engine run a little better and happier, but it's not a massive difference. And then this gauge is for the airbags in the back for the suspension. So you have the left and the right, and you have switches right here to control them, and a built-in air compressor, so it'll automatically turn on here once it gets too low. The ambulance does still have the, I guess, speaker, yeah. So it's just, you know, the siren, that's the word I was looking for. The siren and the ability to talk over a loudspeaker, which is fun, mostly to tell people that their dogs are adorable. It doesn't have the emergency lights, but it does have these, which are probably illegal to use in most situations. And then these pillar gauges here were added by the previous owner as well. We have the trans temperature, which right now isn't hooked up, just because when I added the turbo, there wasn't a lot of space with the new pipes for the sender, but it can just be moved. I just haven't done it yet, and that'll work again. And then the water or coolant temperature, and then this is the pyrometer. This one's actually pretty important. This measures the temperature of the exhaust as soon as it comes out of the manifold. And before I put the turbocharger on, it was much more of a big deal. Now it's not so much, but you do have to make sure this never goes above certain temperatures. Anything about 1100 degrees Fahrenheit, aluminum can start melting or warping. So you want to keep it below that. And it used to be, especially if you're going uphill fast or pushing the engine really hard, you'd have to watch this because it would break that barrier pretty often. But now with the turbocharger, man, I don't even know if you could, if you tried to get it that hot, but still something to keep an eye on because it could ruin the engine theoretically if you did get it too hot. Yeah, other than that, pretty straightforward. There's a switch here for the 2 fuel tanks. It has a front and back fuel tank. Everything works as expected there. And then I'll start it up just so you can see that. That's pretty funny. It usually starts up just fine. Okay, we might as well show under the hood really quick. So I'll meet you up front. All right. You can see another hitch down here, so you can put a bike rack on that if you want to. And there she is. Yeah, so it has a block heater, colder temperatures. Yeah, it's a little dirty right now, but it's their standard 7.3 IDI. If you look back here, you can see that's the hot side and the cold side of the new turbocharger, the Hypermax. I think a couple things here have been added, you know, since it was an ambulance. Like, I'm pretty sure this is new, and this is a fuel water separator filter. I think that might be it. Pretty much everything else is stock. So yeah, here are the 2 batteries. You can see they're getting pretty old, so I will be replacing those soon. I think that's about it. Just over there. Let's go to the other side here. Emergency toilets. That's what we're talking about. Just a bucket. It's pretty nice to have, and especially because you have outdoor storage, you don't have to keep it in the cab with you in case of emergencies. So this storage locker has a lot of space right now, but this is where we keep the propane tank with that line running in, and then this is the air compressor, semi-permanently mounted. Everything's pretty much just set it and forget it there. We never have to make any adjustments on it, which is nice. And we thought about putting in a rack here for skis because it seems like a good spot for that, but we left Utah, so didn't need it anymore. And then you have the shore power connection right there, and then below that is the solar setup right? So we have the solar batteries in here, 2 6-volts, and those were replaced when we got it, so they're probably about 4 years old, I think, something like that. They're in good shape.
We replaced them here.
Replaced them here? Okay, yeah, so less than 3 years old, then probably. And then, yeah, we have the charge controller and the inverter and other stuff that I don't really use very often. There's a breaker box and an on and off switch there. Most of this is also pretty much set and forget it. You know, it's good for the batteries to be trickle charged pretty much constantly, so I usually just leave the solar on and the batteries stay topped up, and there's not too much you have to do there. We do add water to the batteries once it gets low, and a good upgrade, if anyone wanted to do it, would be to get either gel batteries or lithium ion, because then you never have to worry about that again. The 2 fuel tanks here, and then the last storage locker. And this is where we would keep fluids and tools, many of which would go back in here. But yeah, just lots of space here for all that kinds of stuff. And then really, the only other thing is kind of glancing underneath it, just to show that, you know, it's in pretty good shape. I'll take this. But yeah, it's really not too much rust. One thing that I want to point out is that the frame had a coating on it, you know, to rust proof it, and it, you know, it's getting old and it's starting to fall off. So that needs to be redone sometime pretty soon-ish, probably. But yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for joining.